Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're having a wonderful day as usual. Today we're continuing our predictions for a World Cup with a round of 32. But first, I want to mention that in my original predictions, the one for the entire tournament, I had 25 out of the 32 in this round. So I'm pretty proud of myself because the 7 I missed are all underdogs. So they were all teams that were difficult to predict. They finished third in their groups. So it's not like I was completely off. Actually, I think I did pretty good. Obviously, I did get some teams in the wrong spots in their group. Like, for example, I had Japan first and the Netherlands second, when actually it was the reverse. It was Netherlands first and then Japan second. Obviously, when you have two very strong teams in a group, it can be very difficult to predict which one is going to end up at what spot. So I can forgive myself for this. I think that overall I did very good. Not perfect. I could have done better. But overall I'm proud of myself. And by the way, I'm super proud that I got Cabo Verde right. I said they would finish second in their group and they did. Hey, see? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, let's move on to my predictions for the round of 32. So, South Africa against Canada. So South Africa is actually one of the teams that I did not have in my original prediction. I thought they would be eliminated. Well, they managed to cling to a second place in their group, so, well, kudos to them. And Canada is a team that I had, I think, as a third, but I believe they've topped their group, so good on them. And actually, I was quite impressed by Canada. I think they played really well. They played a lot better than I expected. And I believe they will be at home for this game. I'm not sure, it's not mentioned here. So we're going to assume that they are. But even if they're not, there's a big chance that there's going to be a lot of Canadians to support them. So it's going to be like playing at home either way. And South Africa, even though they managed to cling onto a second spot, it was kind of at the last minute. So I think they're not that good. They lost against Mexico, but they managed to beat South Korea. But South Korea was very disappointing in this tournament. I expected a lot better from them. So I don't know if that really tells us much about South Africa's strength. So for that one, I'm going to go for Canada. Germany against Paraguay. Paraguay is another one that I did not have in my original prediction. I still don't think they're that good. They managed to cling onto a third place, I believe. Somehow, I think Germany is going to beat them pretty easily. Unfortunately for them, it's going to be the end of the line. The Netherlands against Morocco. Two teams that I had. And in my original prediction, it was Japan against Morocco. But because I got Japan and the Netherlands inverted, obviously it's not the same matchup. But wow, that is the first big game of the round of 32. And this is an unpredictable one. So whatever I say, frankly, it's a 50-50. I believe both teams are amazing. I believe both teams can absolutely win this game and then go on to go really far into this tournament. Maybe not win it. I don't believe either of them have what it takes to go all the way. But I do believe it could absolutely go to like a semi-final or something like that. Or maybe, you know, with a little bit of luck, maybe they can make it all the way. Who knows? Who knows? So for that one, I'm going to go for the Netherlands because I was actually quite impressed with them in their group. I think they played a lot better than I expected them to. And Morocco, they're a strong side. Once again, they can absolutely win this game. But I don't know. I felt they were not quite as sharp as I expected them to be. So, well, I'm going to go for the Netherlands on that one. Brazil versus Japan. Another half one. And it pains me to say so, but I don't think Japan has what it takes to defeat Brazil. Do I believe they can do it? Yes, absolutely. Over one game, Japan is capable of beating absolutely everyone. I'm convinced of it. But realistically speaking, would they defeat Brazil? I think it's going to be a tight game. I don't think it's going to be an easy win for Brazil, but I do believe Brazil is going to go through, unfortunately for Japan. All right, France versus Sweden. So I said in my original prediction that France would either be eliminated early in the tournament or go really far, depending on how Mbappe behaves. If he acts like a team player, then France can absolutely go all the way. But if he doesn't, they're going to lose very early in the tournament. And so far, he's proven to be a team player. So it's very encouraging for France. And I'm going to say that they're going to defeat Sweden very easily. I can see like a 3-0 victory, no problem for France. And especially if Dembele keeps on playing the way he played in the last game, wow. I don't see who can stop France, frankly, in this tournament. But it's going to come down to individual talent. And as you know, individual talent, it doesn't really make everything in a tournament. It's a lot more complicated than this. Côte d'Ivoire versus Norway. Wow, what a matchup. This is one of those unpredictable ones. It's one of those where there isn't a clear favorite. I think both teams are more or less on the same level, but I will give it to Côte d'Ivoire. And not because of the last game Norway played, because it was the main French squad against the substitutes of Norway, so it really means nothing in the grand scheme of the tournament. But I was very impressed by Côte d'Ivoire, the way they were able to hold on to Germany, and I frankly believe that they should not have lost that game. It was a really tight victory from Germany and not a deserved one in my personal opinion. So I think they're going to beat Norway, but I think it's going to be a fascinating game. Like, it's one of those games that you should not miss. I can see this one being very open and very fun, hopefully with a lot of goals. Mexico versus Ecuador. That one I'm going to give to Mexico. Frankly, I was very disappointed by Ecuador because they did an amazing qualifying campaign. They have one of the strongest defense in the world. I genuinely expected them to do a lot better. In their defense, though, they were unlucky. In their opening game, they lost, but they hit the post 3 times. And they dominated the game the entire time. So it was a big upset for them to lose 1-0. But they also managed to beat Germany. Granted, Germany was already qualified, so they probably didn't play very seriously. But the thing is, Mexico, they won all their games and they're going to be at home. And I think this is going to make a really big difference. If Ecuador defeats Mexico, I would not be surprised. But frankly, given the circumstances, I think Mexico is going to get that one. England versus Congo. Well, I was very impressed by Congo, the way they were able to draw against Portugal. Wow, they were actually a really balanced team. I think they have what it takes to take on England. Now, will they though? I don't think so. I still think England is going to win that one. Maybe not comfortably, but I do believe that Congo is going to end there. USA versus Bosnia. Okay, Bosnia is another team that I did not have in my original prediction, and I'm going to say it, I think they got there by luck. I don't see them being good at all. The USA was very impressive on the other hand, and once again, they're going to be at home, so I think it's going to be an easy win for the USA. Belgium versus Senegal. Okay, so Belgium was disappointing, but I'm not too surprised because their golden generation is getting old now, and they don't really have good players to replace them. As for Senegal, they managed to cling onto a 3rd place at the very last minute. So will that be enough to defeat Belgium? I think it's going to be a lot more balanced than a lot of people might think, but I will still give it to Belgium by a hair. But I don't think it's going to be a big victory for Belgium unless they somehow wake up right now, which is always possible, obviously. Portugal versus Croatia. So in my original prediction, I had Portugal win the whole tournament. Now, do I still believe that? Frankly, no. I was actually very disappointed by the way Portugal played in this group phase. And especially, I was very disappointed by the role Ronaldo is playing. When I saw that Ronaldo was part of the squad, I thought he would never play the whole games. I thought he would play 50, 60 minutes maybe, or be used as a super sub. But instead, they decided to have him on for 90 minutes at every single game. And it's really ridiculous because Ronaldo is in his 40s. He doesn't have the stamina anymore for these types of games. He can't play 90 minutes at a high level. It's just not possible. And if Cristiano Ronaldo stays on the pitch games after games for 90 minutes, at one point or another, Portugal is going to lose because it's almost like they're playing with only 10 men. And that's a really big problem. So against Croatia, can they win it? Yes, absolutely. And I still believe that Portugal is a better team than Croatia overall. But frankly, from what we've seen of Portugal so far, wow. I'm still going to give it to Portugal, but frankly, if Croatia defeats them, I would not be surprised at all. Spain versus Austria. Okay, I think Spain was just as good as we expected them to be. As for Austria, they did a pretty good group phase, but they're not that good of a team, so I think Spain wins that one easily. Switzerland versus Algeria. Okay, I'm calling it now. This is going to be the most boring game of the round of 32. I expect a 1-0 victory from either side. I don't think one team is really above the other one. I think they're both really boring and average teams that somehow made it to this round, but frankly, it's not well deserved given what we've seen from them. So I'm going to give it to Switzerland, because I still believe they're a better team than Algeria, but frankly, whichever team wins, frankly, I don't care. Now, Argentina against Cabo Verde. Hey, if you remember, in my original prediction, I had this exact matchup. And I gave it to Cabo Verde. And I'm going to do it again, because why would I change my mind? Cabo Verde played pretty much just as well as I expected them to. Argentina was a little bit better than I expected them to be. But you know what? I'm still predicting an upset. Let's see if I'm right. Let's see if Cabo Verde can make me happy and go through. Colombia versus Ghana. Two good teams, two teams that are quite balanced, I believe. But Colombia played very well during the group phase. They should have won against Portugal. So I'm going to give it to Colombia. Australia versus Egypt. Australia did a little bit better than I expected them to, by the way. They finished second when I gave them a third place in my original prediction. As for Egypt, they're a good team, undeniably. Now, neither of those teams were particularly impressive to me in the group phase, so I think it could go either way. And because I'm very biased in favor of Australia, as I mentioned before, I'm going to give it to Australia once again. Now, you guys can tell me what you think of these predictions so far. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you think that other teams are going to win? I would love to hear your thoughts, guys, on my predictions and to have your predictions. And just for the fun of it, we're going to continue and see who wins the tournament in this particular configuration and with what we know based on the group phase so far. So let's keep going. Round of 16, Germany versus France. Wow, what a matchup, guys. It's a final before the final. Let's face it. And honestly, I don't have a favorite, so it can go either way. If you say Germany over France, I believe you. If you say France over Germany, I believe you as well. So who's going to win? Based on the group phase, I'm going to give it to France because I think they were more impressive than Germany. Even though Germany played very well, they did struggle against Côte d'Ivoire and they did lose against Ecuador. So I think France is going to beat them. Canada versus the Netherlands. So Canada were very impressive during the group phase, as I said, and they're at home. But the Netherlands is, I think, a much better team than they are. So this is going to be a really big test for Canada. If they can win this, I could see them going on a semi-final. But realistically, I think they're losing that one and the Netherlands go through. Brazil versus Côte d'Ivoire. Once again, I think there's a clear favorite here. I think Brazil is the one that would take that one. Though I do believe that Côte d'Ivoire could absolutely take them on, especially after their really good performance against Germany. But, you know, a group match is not the same thing as a knockout match. So I think Brazil is going to take that one very seriously and that they're going to go through. Mexico versus England. Oh, you know, I'm assuming Mexico will be at home once again, or, I mean, even if they're not at home, even if they're not playing in Mexico, even if they play, say, in the US, there's going to be, the stadium is going to be on their side, undeniably, all for Mexico. So it's going to be like playing at home. Now, will that suffice to take on England? It's difficult to say. England was very impressive so far in the tournament. I think they were ruthless. Realistically speaking, I think England takes that one, but just for the fun of it, I'm going to have Mexico win this. Yeah, I know, I'm going crazy. Every once in a while, you have to, you know, remember it's a World Cup, upsets will happen. So, hey, why not? Mexico takes it over England. You know, the rush of being at home, the rush of having all their supporters there, maybe England making some stupid mistakes, something very English, and Mexico going through. I can totally see that happen. Portugal versus Spain. And this is where I'm going to diverge from my original predictions because Portugal played so poorly in the group phase and Spain were pretty much just as good as we expected them to be. So I'm going to have Spain win that one, unfortunately for Portugal. The USA versus Belgium. I think Belgium is a very disappointing team. Once again, the USA will be at home. Big advantage. And the USA were pretty impressive in the group phase. So I'm going to go with the USA. Cabo Verde versus Australia. Man! It's an interesting matchup because that means one of those teams is going to be in the quarterfinals, according to my predictions. Obviously, I'm biased in favor of Australia, but I do believe Cabo Verde is a better team. But based on experience alone, I think Australia takes that one. Switzerland versus Colombia. Attacking versus defending. And because I fucking hate defensive teams, I'm going to go with Colombia for no other reason. Frankly, I also believe that Colombia is a better team, but not by that big of a margin. All right, let's go on through the quarterfinals. France versus the Netherlands. Exactly like France versus Germany. Frankly, you can say either of those teams, and I think it's completely fair. They're both great teams, and over one game, both can absolutely win it. But based on what we've seen of France so far, I'm going to go for France. Spain versus the USA. I think it's going to be the end of the line for the USA, even though they're at home. Spain is just too good of a side, so let's go for Spain. Brazil versus Mexico. Same thing. I think it's going to be the end of the line for Mexico, even though they're playing at home. Brazil is just too strong for them, so I'm going to go for Brazil. Australia versus Colombia. Australia is a good team, but they're not that great. And frankly, the only reason they're in the quarterfinals in my prediction is because I had Cabo Verde defeat Argentina. So I'm going to go for Colombia. All right, let's go to the semifinals. France versus Spain. Oh my. I don't think there's a clear winner. Once again, like France is basically playing all the best sides of the tournament in that scenario. So, wow. And I'm going to go for Spain. Now, Brazil versus Colombia. Well, once again, two strong teams, but I think Brazil is the better of the two. Third place match, I think France win that one and they go on to third place. And now the final, Spain versus Brazil, and I'm going to give it to Brazil. Because one, Brazil has one of the best teams in the tournament, so they can absolutely go all the way. They have Carlo Ancelotti, which is one of the best, if not the best, manager of all time. And I don't want Spain winning because, as I said in my previous video, I don't fucking want to hear about Lamine Yamal being Ballon d'Or when he clearly doesn't deserve it. So that's it. That's my 3 reasons. And so I give it to Brazil. There you go. And my new prediction, Brazil wins this. Now I'll do another video for the round of 16. So, yay, you can wait for that. And in the meantime, you can give me your thoughts in the comments down below. As usual, guys, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you soon for another video. Cheers!